Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, two dedicated Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, a faculty member at a Midwest university, a podcaster, and an Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants, birds, panoramic sequences, and the occasional river.
Oh, okay. So you're doing rivers now too?
Well, I had to include that because I wanted to talk about an in-space thing, and I uploaded a picture of the Wisconsin River.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I was putting together show notes last night and was terrified because I came up with about 4 articles after chasing all the feeds for the last week. And I thought
There's a lot.
some of these articles, like I was like, okay, well, I guess so. And I haven't spent a lot of time with those 4 because around 1:00 today, bam. And we got a lot to talk about. And it's brand new stuff that you should be aware of. And I text messaged you. I said, hey, this is out. Take a look at this. And we got, here's some apps. And so for those of you who are watching the video stream, you'll get to see some of this. Plus, you're also going to show you the new Apple Vision Pro app, the phone app. So Eric's got it. And I'm going to pull it up on the shared web screen, and we'll talk about it so listeners won't get lost while we look at the pretty pictures and describe it. But just a lot of things that happened. Outside of that, anything new for you this week?
Not really. I was really kind of just trying to relax and come up with ways that I could do things that didn't involve seeing anything at all in the real world. And I think I succeeded.
Do you need mental
the real world
health?
The real world is a scary place right now.
Oh, I see what you mean. I was going to say, do you need a mental health intervention? Because it sounded like you were, going to check in or check out, I should say.
Yeah. That would have helped.
No, I just had a really busy week at work with some major, gatherings that I was responsible for putting together and tried to recover on Saturday. Basically slept. I slept like I had just, come back from a long trip. And then Sunday recovered and had a bunch of work to do. And then bam, Monday. And we've got some great Apple Vision news to talk about. I'm realizing now, because particularly today, that headset has gone on and off and on and off and on and off my head, how much I like the D brand.
Okay.
I finally realized, usually I'm taking that thing off and putting it over on the side, and then I'm careful with it, and I'm still careful with it. But the D brand thing is like, pick it up, put the battery on it, and throw it on my head, and I'm ready to go. And it wasn't until, like I said, I'd done it multiple times that I realized I'm not doing this anymore because I've got the D brand cover on it. So I can't remember. Yeah. Have you got one ordered or no?
Yes, I did order one.
Okay.
I ordered it in a nice, sedate, relaxing orange.
Okay. All right. So you're going to attract a lot of attention when you're on an airplane then.
Well, that, and I figure, if I go wandering around in the woods, especially in the fall, then I'll be safe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's right.
From deer hunters.
Yeah, who have a tendency to shoot deer that are wearing Apple Vision Pros.
Yeah,
so it's
the real problem.
Yeah, I bagged a 5-pointer and they had a Vision Pro on, so it was kind of a double deal.
Extra bonus.
Just as long as you didn't crack the screen.
Yeah.
Anyways, I won't talk more about the D brand situation until you get yours and you get a chance to experience. But that was something I became aware of today in particular because of the Apple Vision Pro news. And we have got a release of Apple Developer Beta visionOS 2.4.2. I think I have that correct. I thought maybe we'd get one this week. I didn't think we'd get it until tomorrow. I thought it was going to be a Tuesday release and re-record this on Monday nights. And I was surprised when I started checking and seeing that they had released a beta, because I went back in to see if there are any more things that we could talk about through feeds, and all this stuff came up in the feeds on it. So there's a lot of things to say about what's been released today. They also released Sequoia update too. So I'm updating Sequoia. And I haven't checked iPad OS, but generally they all come in a group. So that'll be the next product line that I'll try and update later. But let's take a look at least some of the initial articles here. This came off of 9 to 5 Mac. Apple just released 2 brand new apps in iOS 18.4 and visionOS 2.4 beta. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. We've got visionOS 2.4 beta, but it was a double blessing because we got that marvelous little iOS app, and we'll spend a little time with that and talk about our opinions of that. But the first they talk about the Vision Pro app, and it's on iPhones. And I wonder if it's on iPhones of people who don't have Vision Pro headsets, or because it knows it's one of the devices in my device group that it knows to add that app. And I thought that's what it was. There was some identifying, it was going to identify if you had a Vision Pro, then you would get the app updated. You updated your iOS 18. So yeah, there's some cool stuff in the app. You can identify your Vision Pro's model number, software version, etc. And we were talking last week about how much we wish they had a better app store. I'm not sure it's there yet. I mean, it has a part of the device, part of the app will take you to apps and new apps, but I'm not sure and I drilled down deep. It was like, would you like to see more? And you could see more and you could go more, but it's not like integrated into the app store on all platforms, where I can just say, like on Mac OS, you get the choice between iPhone and iPad and Mac OS, and you can change tabs on it to see what apps fit under each one. There is yet to be a Vision OS tab, but anyway, interesting that they've added that. And then Spatial Gallery. They've added the Spatial Gallery app to Vision Pro. So if you upgrade to the 2.4.2 beta, which is the developer beta, I guess there is no public beta. So it's equivalent to if you upgrade to the beta, then you will get this app. And of course, mine is 8 pages in because it shows up at the end. And I'm paging through. It's like, wait, it's got to be in here. And sure enough, it was there.
Yeah, I finally started picking up my apps and then rearranging them because I got tired of having to scroll through. So today finally did it for me, and I grabbed it and I moved it back to my second screen.
Yeah. I do that if I know I'm going to go someplace and show it off. Then I'll move up the stuff that I want people to play with so they don't have to go all the way through to find it. So what's any impressions that you have?
Well, let's see. There's a couple things. One, in the Vision Pro app, the other piece that was kind of neat is if you use inserts, it mentions the inserts and you can click on them and it takes you to the health app to give you all of the information about your inserts. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Vision Pro app. And I will drag my shared iPhone 16 onto the screen, and we'll go there. And, you can see the app. I have the app open, and this is what you get. You can go to and click on and find information. It also gives me my reader inserts. As Eric had mentioned, if I wanted to go and get more information on that, and I can also see them in health. It has a tab for tips, and it's asking me to restore tips. Oh, that's interesting. it's going to take me to the App Store to add these different pieces in. And then Essentials, gee, I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that. It doesn't do that on the phone, so maybe it's a function of this mirroring that I'm doing. And then it has a Vision Pro user guide. Here's the adventure. Did you watch this? What is it? The cold? Well, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, no, I can't remember now, but let's see.
It's season 1, episode 4. It is called Deepwater Solo. Yeah, I just pulled it up here, and
they did a nice job with it. The filming wasn't bad.
Yeah, I wondered about that because I had and I'm having problems with this, so I'm trying to do it on the phone here.
It was in Spain.
Yeah, and it was also, I guess I'm going to have to stop showing that. It was also some of the camera movements were jerky. I don't know if you noticed that. And so it made me wonder, how are they doing this? Like one of the shots was he's climbing up the side and he's going foot by foot, and you can see the camera kind of shift up and then shake a little bit and shift up and shake a little bit and shift up. And I was wondering,
I think it was on ropes.
Yeah, I think it was on ropes. I think it was suspended in a way that it was just not as effective in viewing that. And I also watched the Surfing in Finland one. That was the that came out earlier this week.
Did you wait until it was really cold and go outside or sit in a freezer?
No. I sat here in the comfort of my chair on my big butt and watched folks. And I think my question for you was most of that overhead stuff done by drones, I would assume.
I think so. I don't know any other way that you can fly over the top of everybody and then out over the sea.
Yeah, and follow track people along with that. Yep. So this one, I think, filmed by ropes, or some of the climbing shots were filmed by ropes, not by steady, not by steady drones flying next to him. There were certain times, again, like the concert for one, where I was a little too close to him. I needed a little space, but generally it was an interesting kind of setup for the whole process. And I'm going to try and see if I can get this back.
And I have to say, as somebody who doesn't really like heights, it worked better than I expected. Like there's some immersive experiences, like the high wire one, that bothered me a lot, especially when she fell. This one, they gave you lots of warning that he was going to go fall into the ocean, and after the first couple of times that was handle it.
Frankly, I was waiting for them to fall into the ocean, and there was a couple of times I zoomed ahead just to try and find just to wait. Yeah, because I wasn't really that interested in the narrative, and
you just wanted an accident.
I wanted to see the splash. That's what I wanted to do. So yeah, I mean, it was fine. I think again, it maybe was showing different ways for them to be able to do what they're able to do with the cameras. So let's talk about what else is in the app while I can't seem to manage to get it to mirror.
Okay.
Of course, I just got it to mirror. So there's a
lot more advertising now.
Yeah. A lot of this is, and I noticed that too when we get to talk to Spatial Gallery, but a lot more advertising what Apple's doing.
Yes. Yeah. In ways where you could show somebody, you can see stuff like this without having to hand them a headset to put on.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and take the risk of here is the quote app store, or what could be a temporary app store, with some of the apps that you would want to look at, and you can discover more Vision Pro apps and games. So you can then go into different categories, and I might risk it. New and noteworthy. So you've got that within the app. And the cool part about this, as you know, is if you do this, you can click on an app that you want, and the next time you go into your Vision Pro, that app is added automatically to it. So there were ways that you could do that through finding the app on the website and being able to click on it, and then it would add in. But this is now part of the app and integrated with the app, which is pretty cool. Spatial Gallery is a whole different story. This click doesn't really do anything. It doesn't take you anywhere. And then Wicked, yeah, we've heard enough about Wicked. And then this goes into immersive video and options for immersive video, panoramic productivity with Mac Virtual Display, and then more apps. So, but really it's linked to what you have here is all pretty cool. Anything you want to add on that?
No, I haven't had a chance to try sharing the headset after this last update because I'm kind of curious if it does anything into the app or that's just, shows up directly on the phone. So
did you get into Spatial Gallery?
yes, briefly.
Justin, I forgot to talk about Justin. And let me share. Justin Baker is in our chat room, and last week he had some comments. And Eric, thanks for clarifying the guest mode. All the articles are very vague about how it works. Want to add, learn via Reddit. Haven't put my headset on since the release to verify that guest mode prompt in the headset appears after a failed optical scan. A message pops up in the guest for the guest to click on the crown and request access. Thanks for clarifying that. The Apple ID and the iPhone has to match, and it fixes movie sharing and watching. And then his comment on dbrand. With the dbrand, you just got to let us know how hard it is to get it on and off subsequently. Also curious, since it's hard to get on, how many fingerprints do you end up getting on it in an effort to get it on? I can't answer that, Justin. I haven't taken it off. And frankly, my eyes are so terrible that I'm always looking through a cloud. So visual acuity is not my thing. But Justin just asked in the chat room, does the app mention the iPhone app, mention that the headset is 4K in terms of cost? Just asking for the news outlets, they might want to include that. So yeah, let's talk about. Thank you, Justin, for provoking us in good ways. I appreciate the comments that you make in YouTube. I see them sort of the next morning, and then in a haze after doing the show. So let's go ahead and talk about this, about the Spatial Gallery. Did you get into that at all?
A little bit. I mean, it was earlier today, and between pain meds and trying to take a nap, put it on, went through. It was kind of nice, because you could kind of slide through basically a bunch of kind of examples that are out there and pop in and look, and different. It had stills and video, and there's at least one panoramic scene and a couple other immersive. The one that you're showing on the screen now on the left hand side of that 3, basically I think that was a Red Bull one.
Yeah,
a bunch of people flying through the air.
I got to tell you, when I first saw that, I thought, what are they like in rocket engines where they're floating vertically? And it was an overhead shot of parachute divers, I guess you would call it. And they're wearing these, flying squirrel suits. And it's an overhead shot of them moving around and doing their stuff. It was pretty impressive.
And they had some people facing, towards the ground, and the really trusting people were facing up. So it's some neat footage, and so a neat way to look at it.
Some of the shots, still shots. There was one, and it's on the left here, in Istanbul, and I've done a lot of trips to Istanbul, and so of course I'm looking at the background trying to figure out where that is, and had I been there, and it was listed as March 3rd. All of these were listed as March 3rd and submitted somehow. And I thought, what does this mean? Is Apple going to select, or if you put something in the cloud, Apple says, "Oh, this is cool. We'd like to feature it in the Spatial Gallery," or what? Because they have the person's name and everything's March 3rd. I don't think it snowed like that in Istanbul on March 3rd, but it could have. And then they have some other cool. The thing that I found disappointing, because it was publicized as a app where you can see all your spatial photographs, or where you can have your spatial photographs, and it really didn't allow you at this point any way to load your spatial photographs. And so I did some searching, and it was like, go to your photos. And so I went to my photos, and I think the searching was basically saying, this is how you can convert something into a spatial view. Not that this is how you get into the spatial gallery.
Yeah.
Because the thing that's missing from this, if all it is going to be pretty pictures that other people have taken, and I can't put my pictures in the gallery for whatever purpose, and if I can't get rid of the ones I don't want, thank you, I'm not a cat person. If I can't get rid of that damn cat, then it's just gonna be, it's gonna feel, like you said, like an advertisement for the capability of the device, not necessarily an app that you can use things with.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of my hope that this is sort of the first stage in figuring out how to share spatial material through iCloud.
Yeah, well,
it's not there yet, but
we can do it. Yeah, we can do it with regular photos. So I don't understand why it's so hard to do the same linkage with spatial photography. So I can tell you, even on the app, I looked at some of the, like on the app on the phone, even looking at the immersive slot, pictures where they were kind of, and even some of them had video clips to them. It was pretty, you could tell. And I thought, if this app is available for people and they look at that, they'll go, oh, okay, I get it. I understand why people want to have this in 180 around their head, because you can see kind of the layers of the objects as you're moving through the video, and even on the phone, you could see it that way. So I think it could be very cool if the app, or people can see what it looks like without having ownership on the headset. So big news, 2.4.2, that brings us the Spatial Gallery. And then with iOS 18 Beta 2, we now have the Vision Pro app / app library, or app library access, which is kind of nice. Any more thoughts on these?
No, I think that's good for now.
All right.
There'll be a bunch more updates, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I am trying to work on what we're going to talk about next. And I think we'll go with the Dassault Systemes reveals Apple Vision Pro apps for product design and manufacturing. And a couple of articles on this. This one is from Apple Insider, and the idea that the French company, of course it's a French company, they spell Systemes, worked with Apple to integrate Apple Vision Pro into its existing 3D experience platform, offering spatial computing via multiple applications. And so, this is another example of how it's a failed product, that we've got companies who are coming up with enterprise uses for it and combining it with the 3D experience platform to allow for real-time collaboration, meaning users will be able to interact with digital twins in a 3D environment. So kind of very cool stuff. And again,
it's nice to see this implemented, between the stuff for doctors and surgeons and other procedural uses, and then this kind of design work.
Yeah, this article from Mac Daily News says this Dassault Systemes said that starting this summer, the company will release an app called 3D Live that will allow engineers and designers to collaborate on a 3D model in real time and remotely. So very cool. I wonder if they're going to use personas. What am I talking about? Engineers don't have personas.
Yeah, but they're virtual ones, so that makes up for it.
Yeah. So that's all very cool. That another example of a product moving in a way towards using and integrating Apple Vision Pro. We've probably heard about this already. Bono is doing now when they say a full length video for Vision Pro, what do they mean by full length?
Mhm.
Do they mean
50.
an hour? Do they mean 45 minutes? Do they mean 2 hours? What is a full length video? A documentary?
Excellent question. We
Yeah.
will find out in
On
June.
May 30th, apparently, according to this article. Surrender, 40 songs, one story. But what was interesting, I thought, in this article was how they're doing special kinds of content to really fit with the Vision Pro. So you're not just watching a movie on Vision Pro, you're seeing some specialized content to tie in with the book cover and a new introduction by Bono.
That could actually
So,
be kind of neat to see.
yeah, well, I also like you too. So that makes it even doubly nice. And then I didn't quite understand this, but I thought it was interesting. And of course, you and I are both not gamers, but first, the HTC's Viverse worlds could one day be the YouTube for VR content on the Apple Vision Pro. Doesn't support Apple Vision Pro at the moment, YouTube. Users could one day turn to Viverse worlds for new immersion experiences.
That's a neat idea as well.
Yeah.
Especially cross world.
Yeah, we will, of course, have all of
I
these.
knew the.
Yep. Go ahead.
I knew the multiverse was real.
Code-free cross-platform. One of the big parts of the platform is that it aims to make 3D content as easy to produce as possible for creators. This includes Viverse Creators Web Builder and Play Canvas extension. So there you go. I mean, connect with Apple Vision Pro and have your platform to build content on it. So people are brought to your platform to build content. And then Vision Pro gets the benefits of being able to show some of that and be the outlet for that in terms of 3D modeling. Well, let's see. Next story is, I guess, more about a competitor. And I don't know what to say in terms of that. The competitor is the PSVR 2. And apparently they're doing price slashing by
And this one's
$150. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this one was kind of interesting. Just sort of the conversation of, is the resolution and type of display more important, or the price point more important, or the available content more important? And how important is it to have, when you have one device with content, to have a future device also be able to watch that content? They kind of cover all of those concepts.
Yeah, and the author of this article talks about it, and that the PSVR 2 has a higher resolution, higher field of view, and more precise controllers with the addition of eye tracking, but it doesn't seem that it has much purpose or much use on the PS5 on the console. So
Yeah.
It's interesting that that's one of the issues with it, or at least what the author thinks. It's cheaper than the regular Quest 3, slightly lower resolution screens, and then of course they talk about how Sony is PlayStation folks are working on potential controllers for use to use with Apple Vision Pro. So it's just an interesting article. I am not that much of a gamer. I did dabble in PlayStation once. My son convinced me to get one, and I thought, oh, this will be a good father. This will be a good father-son bonding opportunity. And I spent the money and sold it just because I couldn't get through the controllers. It's just generationally not my thing, with the little toggle switches and the A's and the B's and the C's and the D's and the pluses and the minuses and the arrows and whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, I tried it. I think it's an interesting system. I don't know if I would buy another headset that's just particularly PS and gaming, because that's not my generational thing. So anyway, I think we have one last story and then a couple of really cool apps to talk about. This story I pulled up because I'm a baseball fan. Sorry. They are announcing the return of Friday Night Baseball and more on Apple TV Plus. Now, what I found interesting about this is Apple also announced a new immersive video called VIP Yankee Stadium. Okay, I hate the Yankees. Well, I hate the Dodgers more than the Yankees. For me, those are the Dallas Cowboys of the contemporary Dallas Cowboys. It's like when everybody growing up was a Cowboy fan because they were winning. Anyways, but this is going to be an immersive video that will provide Apple users with an all-access pass to the world's most iconic sports venues. I don't know. I would say Wrigley Field is the most iconic sports venue, but I'm a Cubs fan. The film will be released next month for free and features broadcasting legend Joe Buck welcoming viewers to a June 2024 match between the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oh, I can cheer for both teams to lose. But with an immersive video. So that's kind of interesting, I think. The idea that they're extending this immersion into other products. So there's kind of a crossover with the idea that you can do immersive video and they'll see it as other opportunities for people to get involved. Now, please put some immersive cameras around the ballpark. Get permission from MLB to do that on a Friday night on the games you're doing. And they already do. I don't know if you're much of a baseball fan, Eric. I don't know if I'm a super fan, but they already do some pretty incredible coverage and video when they have the Friday night games. And I would suggest, even if you're not a baseball fan, you should take a look at one, and you have Apple TV Plus, take a look at one of the games just to see how it's different than that 3-camera shot you usually get when you're watching a ball game, over the shoulder of the pitcher, full field from up above, high behind home plate, and then an occasional shot at the dugouts. There's a lot more going on with stats, with information, and with graphic trajectories of where balls are going and things like that you see with the Friday night game that Apple does. So, yeah, I wanted to get that in particularly because I was struck by that immersive video option that's available. So, you ready to... Okay, I want to say all of these links from these articles you can find in the show notes, whether you're watching the video version of it through YouTube or whether you're watching it or listening to it on the podcast. If you go into the notes, you'll be able to get the links to the different articles we're talking about and that we've been showing on the YouTube version. Of course, we're here always Monday nights at 9:00 on YouTube at youtube.com/@visionprofiles. And you can tune in there just like Justin did. And we have 4 now in the watching us, which is kind of cool. So yeah, join the group and get to see the live show as we do it. So let's go to the apps the new apps. I sent you a link to this and I don't know if you got a chance to try it.
I am really bad at this game. And it could be I should have stood up to do it instead of sitting down. But at the time, I really needed to be sitting down. And the ball kept sticking to my fingers. So
yeah, what we're talking about is pinch basketball. I had the same issue when I tried it, and I had seen this come up on Reddit. The guy was giving away passcodes or whatever. And I wound up downloading it and realized I had already purchased it. So I sent you the code that he sent me. And I, of course, sat down through the first round of it and was not getting anything going. And then when I finally got it going again, I'll see if I can run the video. Yeah. When I finally got it, I finally said, well, maybe I should stand up for this. I want to just sink one hoop, But when I finally figured out how to throw it, I was throwing it too hard, and then I was trying to figure out how I just get it to drop in. So it does take, you get better. I'll tell you that. If you can stay with it, you get better. It's meant for you to stand, I think, while you're doing it, and back off a little bit from the thing, and get used to pinching the basketball, and then you kind of have to put your hand behind it like you're doing a shot with one hand, and that kind of helps it. Whenever I did that, though, it hit the board really hard above the rim and bounced back out of the rim. So it's an acquired skill, but it's pretty cool. I can imagine it being fun, particularly for folks who are good at it and enjoy doing that. So it's only available on Apple Vision Pro. It's called Pinch Basketball.
And I will say that when you hit like the side and the ball goes out of bounds, or you throw it off the edge, or you throw it behind, they pick up all the balls and put them in the container again.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when you run out of time, you'll have balls down in your tray. You'll have a full set of balls down in your tray, but a ramp comes up to prevent more. But you still have like 5 shots then that you can practice with when the time's out. And it works. I mean, it catches the balls. So you've got 5 practice and then you start a new game. So anyways, so I went to the new app store, the new app link, and they said, this is what's new and hot. And this is Touch Desk. And I'm not sure if you had a chance to play with this.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this a bit ago.
Okay. All right.
And it is fun.
Yeah, but who has a desk that clear?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it works really well if you if you don't have a problem taking your headset to like a coffee shop, because those tables are clear.
Yeah, that's true. But you still have to be able to physically write.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've kind of lost the ability to do that, But it was.
But you can scribble other stuff. You can draw things.
I wrote obscenities all over my desktop.
Now, I have to say, I did have one chance to go, and I was sitting in a conference room with a lecture that I had to attend. And you can like scribble all kinds of stuff, and you don't have to erase it off the table because it's just virtual.
So you were sitting in a conference with your headset on, or a training that you had to attend?
I was the only one there, but I was watching the conference on the screen.
Oh, okay.
And so I said, "Hey, I can try this, and I can do like it's the equivalent of having a bunch of scratch paper, or there are some restaurants they used to have where they put butcher paper over the tables and then handed kids crayons, that kind of thing. That's what it felt like."
I also can't get over the fact that I don't know how clearly you can see this, but the person has all these little animated figures sitting up on top of their desk, and then a couple of pull-out trays, and there's their keyboard underneath. If you like to doodle and you have good finger, eye, hand coordination, and you want to doodle while you have your headset on, this is the app for you. It's called Touch Desk Desktop Canvas, and it's exactly what the title says.
Yep.
Exploring Mars. Let's jump to that. Oh, I see you've put some things in. We'll go back to In Space.
We can go back, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go back to In Space in a bit. But this came out, and man, it is wild.
There's a lot of detail.
I had purchased this a while ago, and I think at that point, all they had was the rover that you could put in your living room.
Yes.
And they added
much better.
Oh, man. And some of the screenshots you can see here, being kind of a astronaut file, I grew up during the space age time. I really enjoyed this app. I felt finally, and it was just the picture was, to be immersed in it, was so wild.
Yes.
Such an experience. And then I tried to get the rover to do something. I mean, I looked over at it and the camera turned and then it folded back up and sat itself on the rover. But I didn't know if there was any more interaction other than that with it.
Yeah, I was curious about that too, and didn't get the answer in the time I had. So
Yeah.
but it was still cool.
Oh, man. Yes, very cool. So, well, why don't you talk about In Space? Because they've had some changes. I saw that this week, I think, and that might be what you want to talk about.
And I can't remember I think they talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I actually saw it this week, where there is a shared area for spatial posts. So kind of we were chatting about how do you share this stuff, and you can go into InSpace and you can select one of your spatial and upload it to a shared board that is kind of global for everybody. And so I don't know if you can see it from here or not. I haven't tried to get to it from the room, but when you're outside, you can kind of look at the overall board for everyone. They've added a bunch of stuff. So if you haven't been there for a while, it's worth taking a peek.
Yeah. InSpace, one of our favorite apps, and I think our first guest on Vision Profiles. So it was nice to have them along for that experience. And yeah, I have to find time to go back in and create or join some of the ongoing groups that are there. And at some point I thought, well, maybe I'll just have an ongoing discussion that I'll set up on a regular time. And it was like, everything is so booked with different podcasts and such. It's hard to say I'm going to commit myself to this hour every week in space to do something that could happen. So I don't know. Maybe I need to go.
But now even just kind of popping in to see what new spatial content showed up, and get in, say hi. Unfortunately, I popped in briefly and didn't get a chance to actually finish saying hi to somebody before I had to leave because we needed to chat. But yeah, it was good.
Well, good. I'll try and find some time. We have spring break coming up, and that means that means I'm still working, but it means no meetings, no daytime. My daytime's more free, so I hope to find opportunity to do more entertainment stuff over the period of time that we have. So, yeah.
So there was one other app we had over here, Aegis Core, the robot uprising. Did we talk about that already? I don't remember because it was in my app list, but I don't. At any rate, I was playing with it, and it was fun.
Okay, so let's take a look at it because I don't remember us talking about it. It's only available in Apple Vision Pro, so the entrance fee is $3,500. Or Dad's got bored with it and giving it to his teenage.
So yeah, it was a little bit tense because as far as I can tell, these robots just keep showing up and marching towards you and blasting you to smithereens. But I was able to get my steps in.
Just when I need more tension in my life.
But you can press a button and have it all go away.
Yeah, that's right. You can always reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a similar kind of app on, and I forget what it's called, on Meta 3 that my son is a big fan of. In fact, he said, are you using your Meta 3? I'm like, why? And he goes, because I'd like to play with it for a while. So he took that home with him today. So he's in possession of my Meta 3 because I figured I had enough going on with Vision Pro that I couldn't be stepping out on my Vision Pro. All right, I'll put all of those.
Keep it busy.
I'll put all these apps again in the show notes. Pinch Basketball, Aegis Core, Robot Uprising, In Space, Touch Desk, and Exploring Mars. So those links will be available for you. Anything else? I hope your dental stuff still.
No, this a little puffy.
But I hope it gets better and without too much pain in the process. Yeah. So Thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join in on an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and Vision Profiles Podcast at our website. Thepodtalk.net has all the links, and I think it links to updated shows as the new shows come out. Spread the word to other visionaries, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.